What you are seeing on screen now are two jumpers that the Gold Coast Suns will be using in the 2025 season after going through what is quite possibly the worst rebranding in AFL history. Hell, you can probably remove AFL from that. It's quite possibly the worst rebranding in all of history. I mean, seriously, what were they thinking? A red logo on a red Guernsey? You couldn't even see the logo when they did the big reveal. Well, with the Gold Coast Suns releasing what their home and away Guernseys would be looking like in 2025, and pretty much everyone unanimously agreeing that they are the worst things ever created in all of humanity, I thought we'd look back at some of the other absolutely horrible jumpers that AFL teams have rolled out over the years, because there have been some shocking jumpers. And what better way to do that than in a tier list? We've done a few of these on the channel. I'm sure you all know how tier lists work. So I just made myself a tier list with some of the most infamously bad jumpers in AFL history. And a couple of others that I found that weren't really talked about that much, but I also thought looked terrible. So without further ado, let's get into it. The 5 tiers here, we got it isn't that bad. That's a tier for jumpers that aren't great looking, but I don't think that they really deserve the levels of hate that they get. And then not a pretty sight, absolute trash, eyesore, and what a terrible day to have eyes. I'm going to do the 2 Gold Coast ones, the 2 new Gold Coast ones last. I'm going to put all the other jumpers in the tier list first, and then we'll compare them at the end to the new Gold Coast ones to see how bad they really are. Starting off with, this one is a pretty easy one to pick. My God, what were the Hawks thinking with their 1995 preseason jumper, the diamond jumper, I believe some people call it. It is just terrible. I don't think I've ever seen a worse jumper in any sporting league ever. It was only a preseason jumper and only used for 1 season for good reason. They got rid of it after 1995 and started using some actually reasonably cool looking designs in my opinion. But this jumper, wow. Yeah, that's an all-time stinker. You'll see that Hawthorn have a couple of other ones that are pretty bad as well, but I think this one definitely takes the cake. So starting off this list, we've hit rock bottom already. Surely can only be up from here. Well, maybe not, because yeah, this one from Collingwood, wow, that is another absolute shocking one. I believe they used it for a couple of pre-seasons in 1997 and 1998. All over the place. I mean, they could have made something cool out of that magpie design. Instead, they decided to just vomit black and white. Like, seriously, what is going on there? There's so much to unpack, and like, none of it makes any sense. Like, what is going on with those inconsistent lines? I have no idea what they were thinking with this one. That is up there with some of the worst as well. This next one, I haven't seen too many people talk about this jumper as being one of the worst. I believe it was a pre-season jumper used by Sydney. I saw in an article it got listed as a heritage jumper, but then elsewhere it was a pre-season jumper. I don't know which one it is, to be honest. I'd never seen it before, but it's pretty terrible. Not as bad as the last 2. Definitely not as bad as the last 2. They tried to combine this was, I think, around the time when, well, in the first decade or so of Sydney or South Melbourne moving up to Sydney and becoming the Sydney Swans. They tried to combine the Opera House look with the stripes that they wore on a lot of their South Melbourne jumpers, and yeah, they just didn't try. Like, really, what were they thinking? They tried to combine the 2 styles, but it looked like they just gave up and then just haphazardly put together something on, well, I was about to say Photoshop, but they didn't have Photoshop back then, I wouldn't imagine. So whatever, I don't know, however they made jumpers back then. Yeah, I think it's an eyesore. It's pretty bad. Like, it's just ugly, really ugly. Sydney haven't had too many bad, I may be biased, but Sydney haven't really had too many bad jumpers over the years. I think this one is by far the worst though, and I'm glad that it doesn't really get talked about that much because it is a shocker. Oh, the baby blue one, the light M&M. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Although I would think that it's probably the best jumper of the ones we've looked at so far. Yeah, this was back in 1997 when Carlton did a promotional thing with, I think they got paid $250,000. So good for them when they promoted the new light blue M&M. And yeah, this just isn't great. The light blue, the logo, I assume that's supposed to be like that, but it's just wonky looking, and it doesn't look great. I mean, it's already a simple Guernsey, the Carlton Guernsey, but the colours just really don't give off. I mean, it's not that bad. The more I think about it, we'll keep it in absolute trash for now. But I think it could be bumped up. I don't think it's actually that bad the more I look at it. It's just kind of weird, and because it was a promotional thing, just feels a bit soulless. This one I've seen get quite a bit of hate. This was one of the old Fremantle away Guernseys. At first I kind of liked it, but the more I look at it, it's not great. The colours, the colours aren't like horrific, but I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I think I prefer just the all purple that Fremantle go with now, rather than the green, red, and purple that they used to have, and green, red, purple, and white. But yeah, this one, I don't know. I don't think it's great. Not a pretty sight. Is it better or worse than the Carlton one, actually? I'm going to move the Carlton one up, and I'm going to put it ahead of the Fremantle one. Yeah, I think that's the right placing there. We'll shuffle around if we need to. Oh, this one's another bad one. No idea what the hell West Coast graphic designers were thinking with this one. Like, what is going on? It looks like they've made a Guernsey and then like turned on inverted colours. It's just bizarre. No idea what they were going for here. Let's shuffle around some of these bottom ones. I think it's better than the Hawthorn one, and I don't know if it's better than the Collingwood one, actually. I think it's maybe slightly. They're all terrible though. Those like there's gonna be a few more that are like just absolutely shocking. But I think these three are, I'd say they're probably comfortably the worst ones, but we'll see. Oh, this was another promotional one that St Kilda did. I can't remember what year, early 2000s, I believe. Yeah, yellow on a St Kilda Guernsey, no. It's for like pure light start milk or something, but this just isn't it. I'm gonna put it in absolute trash. I think it's better than the Sydney one. I don't think it's as good as the Carlton one. As good. It's not. It's worse than the Carlton one. Oh, another promotional one. Yeah, this one's pretty bad as well. It took a really cool Guernsey design that North Melbourne had going and just turned it orange. And the orange, I think this was with Origin Energy or something. Terrible. What year was it? Like 2008, maybe? I don't know. No, it would have been earlier than that. No, what am I talking about? 2008. This was when Wayne Carey was still in the team. I can't remember when it was in, what year is in. But it is just bad. Like orange on a North Melbourne Guernsey. Like that's all they did. They just turned their Guernsey orange. It's pretty bad. I don't think it's as bad as the ones in the bottom tier though. Geelong, I think this was like a Clash Guernsey in 2003. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It doesn't look like a Geelong Guernsey at all. Like it looks like an 1800s like South Adelaide Guernsey or something with the Geelong logo on it. It's just, I don't know. What were they going for with this? I don't know. Yeah, I think this goes in eyesore as well. This is another terrible one. Yeah, no, that's going in the bottom tier. I can't remember who they were doing a promotional deal with, the Bulldogs, back in 2004, I think. But what the hell were they thinking with this? It just looks like scribbled on lines. The colours are ugly, like the logo is super out of place. Everything about it is awful. Just terrible. Just terrible, terrible. I think I'd have it below the West Coast one. Yeah, that's another one I sort of forgot about a little bit, but that's another one that is just shocking. You never want to lay eyes on it. The wraparound Brisbane Guernsey, I think around like 2005, 2006, I want to say. I'll probably get up a image on screen, but like the lion on the front like wraps around. It's not a great look at all. From the front, it's not like awful in my opinion, but I think it's probably goes in not a pretty sight. The Richmond, like what? This was a 2005 preseason Guernsey for Richmond. They just slapped their logo on a grey canvas and called it a day. It's just unbelievably lazy, and it just looks like someone just gave up. Like they couldn't be bothered. I don't know if I'll put it in. I don't know if it's really as bad as some of these last ones. I can't remember what year this was for Port Adelaide. They've had a few questionable Guernsey designs over the year, particularly for their clash jumpers and away jumpers. This one, it's not actually. I don't think this one's that bad. I think I saw this one referenced as like someone had it in like their top 15 worst Guernseys of all time. I don't think it's that bad. I think it had potential, but just really whatever they were going for, just kind of, it looks like they had something going and then maybe they just sort of gave up halfway. This one, I believe, 2008, like Clasher away Guernsey for Melbourne. Just incredibly bland and boring. There's nothing redeeming, no redeeming qualities about this Guernsey at all. Pretty similar to the Richmond one, just nothing going for it at all. Here's one that Carlton did for a charity. I think we're still allowed to criticise charity Guernseys. I feel like even if it is for a good cause, at least make a good looking Guernsey. This is just like, what is this? It's just, they just slapped the Carlton logo on a yellow canvas, and yeah, not great. I think it's probably slightly better than the St Kilda yellow one, just because it's like a little bit more simplistic. But yeah, this Port Adelaide one, I can't remember what year this was, but just not a pretty sight at all. I think this is an eyesore, to be honest. I don't know what they were going for. It just looks like someone just scribbled with their crowns all over this. Like, what's going on there? I think they just got a preschooler to design that one. Pretty bad. 2011 Clash Guernsey for Essendon. Essendon have never really been that creative with their Clash Guernseys. This is by far the laziest and crappiest design they've ever made, though, for a Clash Guernsey. Like, they just widened the red sash and it looks terrible. Combined with red shorts, my god, it is awful. Absolutely awful. Absolute trash. Crows. I've seen this one get a bit of hate. I don't think it's that bad, actually. I really don't. Saw someone describe it as like just looking like vomit. I don't really see that. I don't think it's that bad. It's not great. It's nothing special, but I think it's probably one of the better ones here. Comfortably. Here's just another bland, boring Guernsey, this time by GWS. I think this is one they used in the early years, 2012-13. Just bland, the grey G on the white background, like, doesn't really give orange team vibes. Yeah, just a bland, boring Guernsey. that, yeah, probably deserves to go smack bang in the middle in absolute trash. Oh, here's one of the most infamous of all time. The Power Rangers Hawthorn 2015-2016 Guernsey. Oh, this one has been, like, memed to death. I think it's probably the most memed Guernsey here. And for good reason. It is just woeful. Awful. It is incredibly... I mean, it has the name Power Rangers Guernsey for a reason. It looks like they're trying to dress up as the Power Rangers. It's just... I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be, but it's still... I'm going to put it in absolute trash. Another one, this one they did for Charity Cancer Council, I believe, a few years from like 2016 to 2018. But pink and brown, it's just not a pretty sight. I used to hate it. I think it's like grown on me a little bit. Maybe not grown on me, but I don't think it's as bad as I used to think it was. Another bland, like, away Guernsey from, I think, 2017 for Melbourne. Just, like, nothing going on here. I think that it's, yeah, I think I'll put it in not a pretty sight. Just nothing really going on here, and, oh, God, not the grey jumpers. Yeah, Carlton's grey Guernsey, just incredibly bland. It really doesn't look that much dissimilar to this other Richmond one, yeah. Just never enjoyed watching Carlton when they ran out in all grey. Just, like, nothing appealing about it at all. Nothing whatsoever. And similar can be said about this Port Adelaide Guernsey. I think at least the V, with the V shape, there's a little bit more going on, but just a really bland, unappealing, boring crap Guernsey. And the Thor, this is another really memeable one. The Thor Guernsey, they used it in round 1 of 2019 when Docklands got renamed to Marvel Stadium. It is terrible. I actually didn't think it was that bad at the time when they rolled out with it. Maybe that's because I was like, I don't know, 13 or something. But I've looked at it again and I can confirm it is trash, absolute trash. It'll go somewhere in this eyesore category. Now, the Geelong 2020 preseason, they rolled out a t-shirt Guernsey for some reason, and the design is just really whack. Not sure what's going on here. Finally, we've got our last 3 Guernseys here. Now, we're going to do the old Gold Coast one first. Their away blue Guernsey. Just, like, why? It just looks so out of place, so bland, all blue. You don't associate that with, like, a sunny Gold Coast at all. Just, yeah, not a great jumper at all. Probably goes somewhere in not a pretty sight. And finally, we have our 2 Gold Coast Suns 2025 Guernseys, home and away. I assume they're probably going to put out a Clash Guernsey at some point. Oh. Red on red. Who thought that was a good idea? Absolutely no idea why anyone would give that the red light. From the TV screens, from the stadium, you are not going to be able to see the logo. Which, I mean, just sticking a big logo in the middle of the Guernsey is already a bit of a just bland, boring idea. But at least make it visible. It's just going to be, especially with their red shorts, they're just going to be players wearing all red. Like, my God. I'm going to put it in the bottom tier, to be honest. I think it's just flat out awful. Such a terrible idea. When they did this rebranding thing, one of their, like, I don't know if it was their CEO or something, put out a statement saying that he wants the Gold Coast Suns as a club to be noticed by everyone else, be taken seriously. Well, you can't even see their bloody logo now. It's just baffling. I mean, everyone is going to notice them for how awful their rebranding is, but... And then you got the away one. Some people think that this is alright. Not me. I think it's even worse. It is... The colours, they don't mix. They're so ugly. The logo looks so hollow and so like, they were trying to make it look like a sun rising over the sea. Well, you don't really get that effect with dark navy blue or whatever that is. It's just such a terrible. I think this is I think this is actually worse than the home Guernsey. Such an probably the two worst home and away Guernseys ever. Like, all of these other Guernseys are like one-off clash Guernseys, but I think that this is like the worst combination of Guernseys ever. And I don't even think it's really close. Yeah. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with their rebranding the Suns. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you thought about these Guernsey designs. Some of them are pretty terrible, and some of them are not as bad as people make them out to be, but most of them are pretty terrible. So comment down what you thought about this video, about my selections, my placings of the jumpers in the tiers. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.